This week we're going old school. I found these miniatures in my dad's old collection, 54mm Napoleonic French line infantry officer. So I've done a bit of research and I think it might still be the same metal models who's still going, but they may have ceased to exist. It's a French company. But anyway, I found the chap and figured, hey, why not give it a try? I've never painted something this size before, so I figured, yeah, let's give it a crack. So I started off by getting the pieces out. I gave them a scrub down as well. I'm not entirely sure if you have to, but it used to be a thing that when you've got metal miniatures you should always wash them first to take any of the residue off from the, not printing process, the moulding process. And then once that was done, it was a matter of just super gluing it all together. With the scabbard, it does have a cord which you can attach to it, so there's a thin piece of metal which you just bend over the handle of the sword. So just take your time on that so you don't bend it too far and snap it. Then I base coated with black, and then for the tunic and trousers I've gone midnight blue from Game Colour. So yeah, as I said, I've been doing a few 28mm recently, and then when I found this chap I was like, ooh, dare I try? A little bit out of my comfort zone, but I figured, yeah, let's go for it, why not? What's the worst that can happen? You have a terrible video which you maybe don't even put on. Or, on the other hand, you could end up with something that you're reasonably happy with. So, yeah, I figured, let's give it a try and see what we can do. Then we're using Crimson Red from System 3 just to paint the tip of his plume. It's quite a substantial plume, really, in the great scheme of things. Maybe he's compensating for something. But yeah, just use a bit of System 3 Red. And then for the base of the plume, we are using System 3 Yellow. I should just say that was Crimson Red from System 3, not just red. Also on this individual, his uniform, he had yellow collar, so you have to get in there and paint that part up also. So just get a nice fine detail brush, preferably good quality. You don't want one which has hairs sticking out because that will just mess up the whole thing. So just take your time and be very careful. Yellow is an interesting colour to work with, in that usually you do require more than one coat. So on this guy I did, I think it was 3 coats in the end, at different stages, and then a highlight at the end, so I guess you would say 4 layers of yellow. If you really want it to stand out, then you'd probably be well advised to start off with, say, a grey, if not for the whole thing, but definitely for the yellow areas. Start with grey, and then build up to a white, and then put the yellow over the top of that. But I didn't, I just went straight in. Next, for the waistcoat and the gloves, we use Ice White from Game Colour. And then what I did is I went over the hat and different areas which would be black, so his boots, for example, the scabbard, and just use this black to touch those up. The piece of this miniature that I was not looking forward to doing was all of the trim on the back of his jacket, like the skirt of the jacket. There's an awful lot of white piping. It's tricky to do, that's for sure. But again, at this stage, just take your time. You don't want to get paint over areas that you've already done, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. These are acrylics that I'm using, so you could always just go in with a wet brush quickly and dilute it down and sort of get it off with a bit of cloth, but take your time. Next up, we've got Silver from Game Colour, and we're going to be doing any metal parts on him, so his sword, also his epaulets are silver also, so any bits and pieces like that, it's just time to touch those up. Yeah, having painted the 54mm now, I actually really enjoyed it. Although it's not quite as, well, I guess it's completely different. I was going to say it's not quite as fast as painting up the small ones, which is an obvious statement. But you're not painting fast to try and get miniatures on the table to a tabletop standard. You're painting more for enjoyment, or at least that's what I found. I guess it would be different if you were doing a piece when someone was paying you for it. That would be separate. But if you're just doing it for yourself, like I was here, I found it to be quite relaxing and actually just an enjoyable painting session. So yeah, I'm happy about it. Next up, I'm using German Cam Bright Green from Model Colour, and that's because there are a couple of patches on the miniature which are green, so around the top of his sword scabbard, and also he's got a belt which I believe is actually probably his sword belt, around his waist, which are a nice bright green colour, and both of those are trimmed with brass later on, or gold. Now I go over it and apply a dark brown wash to the whole figure, and then we use the original colours to go and do the highlights, just like usual. And overall, I'm very happy with the way he came out. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be, in my opinion, quite as good as I got it. It was definitely tricky. You can see there at the back all of those white lines. They're maybe not perfect, but for a first time, I'm happy with the way it came out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it gave you some inspiration to go and try painting some larger miniatures yourselves. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.